Over the past few weeks, you've been spending a lot more time with your mother, Morning Glory, than ever before. You've not been allowed to see your friends due to the volatile nature of the rage. In fact, you haven't spent a lot of time at home either, but you haven't been restricted from it. And you guys did manage to have a small birthday celebration with both your parents and your brother. And when you wake up this morning, you know that this is the last morning that you'll be home for a long time, because you'll be undergoing your training. And your morning starts with a knock on your door.
Sort of just pull the covers further over my head, just like, no.
Hey, wake up. Mom's made breakfast for everyone, so you better hurry up before it gets cold.
Mom made breakfast?
Yeah, Mom made breakfast.
Not sure to be thrilled or terrified.
I don't want to chance it.
Alright, she'll climb out of bed and start getting dressed. Just throwing on just whatever for the time being. Not like her clothes for the day.
Yeah. And when you do exit, you obviously to your younger brother Logan. And he has dark hair like your father's was back in the day and the same eyes that he has. And as you get downstairs, it's just the usual morning stuff. Nothing spectacular or fancy. But homemade as promised.
How good is it?
It's not bad. I mean, it's not great, but it's not the worst.
Not as good as Dad's.
You can imagine your mom probably hasn't spent a lot of time cooking on an actual stove, so.
Hence the trepidation. Yeah, she'll sit down and have something to eat. She's more like an anxious hunger, like just eating because she doesn't want to go. She's just gonna keep eating because she doesn't want to go any further than what's the next step, you know. Mm-hmm. She's like, I'm gonna sit here and eat until I can't, because otherwise I have to keep going to what's next.
Yep. Okay. So everybody settles in, and partway through the meal, Morning Glory puts her fork down and glances at her husband, and then looks back at you. Your father and I have discussed what's going to happen from now on. He's taking steps with the school to get you set up for homeschooling. Unfortunately, your more human education will have to take the back burner for the most part. That isn't to say if you want to continue learning, you can't, but the important thing is that the important things are going to be what I and the others are going to be teaching you from now on. So you'll have to learn how to balance it. And then Logan stops and he's like, what the heck? She just gets to stop going to school? And then Jeremy just like looks at Logan with that stern cop glare, and he immediately shuts up and goes back to eating.
Yeah, so is Arya. She's just like, shut up. Like, she's just like, I'd trade places with you. She's thinking, I'd trade places with you in an instant right now. But she doesn't really say anything. She just keeps her head down and just keeps like shoveling food in. She's like, I don't want to do this.
So after breakfast, then Morning Glory tells you go upstairs and get dressed in something you can hike in. And it's winter, so warm.
Yes, Mother. Then she just trudges upstairs, like dragging her feet every step. Whatever she can to make this process take longer.
Well, when you do finally return downstairs, everybody's waiting for you. And Morning Glory is actually holding a duffel bag as well that she just kind of tosses at you, expects you to catch.
She just sort of like fumbles and awkwardly does, like barely manages to catch it, but it's very awkward. She was not expecting that.
Okay. So then
she's also got this like, her backpack is probably at least a good 15 or 20 pounds of just unnecessary crap that she's shoved in it. Just like, oh, I absolutely have to have this and these pairs of shoes and yeah.
Okay. So then everybody goes up to the car. They drop Logan off at the school, so forth, and then they head over to the Chequamegon Nicolay National Forest.
That's such a tongue twister.
It is. And she parks in one of the stalls, and then kind of leans over to speak with Jeremy quietly. They share a kiss, and then she exits the car and waits for you. But then Jeremy leans over the seat, and he says, "You're gonna do great, okay? Just listen to your mom when she tells you what to do. Once this training stuff is over, you can come visit."
I can't see you until then?
According to your mom, no.
It's so not fair.
Just the way the world is, honey.
Gonna miss you, Dad.
Miss you too, sweetie.
And she just leans forward, gives a kiss on the cheek, and then darts out of the car.
Okay. So without saying anything, your mom begins to head up the main path. And the family car, as far as you can tell, remains until you guys are out of sight. And then several hours pass, and the pair of you actually leave the path that you've been walking on and start working your way through the thin film of snow of the forest itself. The path you guys take is grueling, climbing up large hills where you have to use the trees themselves to haul yourselves up, and heavily shrouded in areas that humans in their right mind wouldn't dare to hike.
And every so often, as the hike keeps getting worse and worse, she just like stops and readjusts her backpack, and she's like, "Okay, maybe I don't need this pair of shoes." Like trying to lighten the load a little bit, like a little bit at a time.
Okay.
Ends up almost like a Hansel and Gretel breadcrumb of unnecessary crap.
At a certain point, your mom will make you stop doing that. Just with the, we can't have stuff leading people where we're going. And then at a certain familiar point, she comes to a stop and releases like this low sound in the back of her throat. And then there's an answering sound back, and Morning Glory steps forward with you. And then there's that familiar shiver down your spine, and suddenly it's warmer. And you guys come upon a scene that you recognize by now, which is the main dining area, which has a small pavilion and outdoor grills with picnic tables, a fire pit, and coolers. And then out past that are the tents.
This is the middle of winter?
Yes. However, there is no snow here.
She just like takes a minute to like still wrap her head around it. Like middle of winter outdoor grilling just don't compute. She's just like, gotta get used to this. It's weird. But then she eventually starts following her mother.
Okay. And you guys just hang out in this area for now. Thistle!
What's up?
Okay.
Yeah.
Just making sure you're still there.
So,
Okay. So the past week or so has been a whirlwind for you. Whereas Arya has given up her more human education, yours is just beginning. You're learning to speak like Hommids do, though obviously you still have a long way to go, but at least less than a lupus. Mountain's Peak and his pack have stuck around as well, which is actually surprising, and he's been trying to answer your questions to the best of his abilities. You also now have a fairly strict schedule that you are to adhere to for lessons and chores. In the mornings, you do physical training, alternating between your different forms to force you to cope and be cognizant of what they're capable of. And then you do chores for the higher-ranking people of the Sept. And today, didn't scroll too far. You have been tasked by Morning Glory to tend to the small garden that they have tucked away, which helps feed the Sept. And it needs to be weeded and some of the vegetables and things like that picked. Okay.
I go do it, and I do it with, like, I pick every little weed that's not a veggie plant out. I'm very meticulous about it.
Okay. And as you're working, being very careful and proper about it, Mountain's Peak actually ambles up to you with a large white-gray lupus who has like super bright blue eyes. And along her side in the fur are like ragged scars that rake over her ribs. In Mountain's Peak, he like hitches at his pants and like squats awkwardly, and like picks one of the beans to like fuss with in his hands, and the lupus actually lays down nearby. And it takes him a little bit, but then he finally talks and he says, I spoke with Siobhan Raya, and she's asked me to set things up to ward off the dead, at least until you can handle it better. But until that point, because it's going to take some time, I have this for you. And he fishes into his pocket and he hands you something.
I reach out for it.
So what you find is you have a smooth river pebble, and there's like a rune painted on it. And he says it's not going to work forever, but for now it should help out a little bit.
How big is this pebble? Is it like pebble like an inch round?
I mean, yeah, it's small enough that it fits in your hand pretty decently. You could put it into a pocket or something like that.
And what is this supposed to do?
He says, if a malevolent ghost is close to you, it'll let you know.
Oh, those things. Okay.
Oh, those things, she says.
Like I said, it's not going to work forever. It's just a temporary fix until you can learn how to deal with this sort of thing.
Duly noted. And I go back to my weeding.
Okay. And you see the lupus lift her head up and like sniff off in the direction of the dining area. And the Mountain's Peak continues, and he says, I'm going to be going out again at the end of this week, so you'll have to handle things, but I'm sure you'll be fine. And he grabs one of the beans and actually like breaks it in half to offer it to the lupus, who like turns her head aside with like this low grunt, and he kind of grins a bit, and then rises. Oops, and it's going too far. And he kind of like scratches his chin like he's not really sure how to say what he's gonna say, and then he's like, I heard news that there'll be some cubs coming today. I suggest you make nice with them.
Okay.
And then he ambles off in the direction of the tents. And the lupus gets up as well. And they kind of join into the flurry of activity that has taken over the sept as they move tables and benches and set up things for tonight's festivities.
I just continue on. I watch him walk away and then blend into the other crowds of people. I just kind of ignore them and get lost in my own mind.
Okay. And you do if you look around, you will see that Morning Glory, who tasked you with this, has returned with someone.
Oh, another one.
Okay, so hold there. Owari, you were brought to the Sept lands at the same time as Arya, but unlike her, you haven't been allowed to leave. You were given a small tent and some extra clothes and then left alone for the most part. This morning is really no different. You're awakened by the sound of the Sept beginning to wake up as well. And what wakes you up is a group of people walking past your tent, talking about how quiet things have been, though the woods have been getting cleaned up again finally, thankfully, with the government up and running. Then there's a feminine voice that exclaims about being tired and how annoyed she is that she'll be missing the event tonight. You patrol before the voices fade off and the distant sound of tents being opened and moving around it filters through the air.
So at that, I guess Owari would get dressed and take a look around the camp.
Okay. So as you come out, you can see that many of the people that live in the sept are moving the benches and picnic tables that are usually under the pavilion and like in the surrounding area over towards a different area where you can see that they have a big fire pit set up with wood that is being set up in like a pyramid type thing for what you would guess to be a very large bonfire. And breakfast is also being made on the outdoor grills.
What's it smell like?
What's it smell like? Breakfast?
Yeah.
It smells like oatmeal and like sausage and bacon and that kind of stuff.
Bacon. Perfect.
Owari's not.
Owari's not weird like you and hates bacon.
And there's like eggs too, I mean, if you can smell that kind of thing. It's your normal kind of what you would be able to make on an outdoor grill or campfire type.
And then he looks for any high grounds around the area that's within the, the area that he's allowed to walk in.
There's
None?
Nope. This is a flat, open clearing where they have like the tents and then like the dining gathering area.
This nice. Pizza, pizza.
Is there anything that would potentially catch my eye?
It's simple when it's not here. There's a pile of pizzas.
Just how busy it is, honestly. This isn't normal from what you've been able to tell from your past few days here. There's somebody working in the garden, and there's also a sort of Oriental woman walking in with a younger girl who you recognize to be as Arya.
Alright, I guess the thing I would do is catch up to them to probably ask them a few questions on what's going on.
Okay. So you have Arya, Owari walking up to you and your mother. Good morning, Glory, says, good morning, Owari.
Owari just nods his head.
Arya sort of like chirps a good morning out, just like, morning!
Have you had breakfast yet?
He shakes his head no.
So then Morning Glory will lead you guys to go and you can have breakfast. They have already eaten. So Morning Glory doesn't take anything for herself other than a bottle of water. To sit down and kind of watch over the goings-ons.
I'm just gonna do my best to act like I don't notice him being there. Because that's totally gonna work.
So does Owari.
I'm just going through my backpack.
Eats breakfast.
Very blatantly just,
Okay.
what's this thing? What's this thing that I packed like 2 hours ago? How many hours ago was it now? Jeez. How many hours have we been hiking?
I mean, you guys had breakfast pretty early.
Point of fact.
Probably about 3 hours. It's probably about 9 in the morning, give or take. Just between.
I was up at 6. I was up at 5 a.m. I'm gonna go back to bed.
My visitor was tough.
That makes me tired.
Speaking of which, my character is also thinking about what's gonna happen when he returns back to the black market.
Yeah. We'll leave you guys there in your awkward silence. Carlos and Tomar. After the two of you had awakened, you were brought to someone's home in Clam Lake. Helena Donovan's, to be exact. She's on the younger side, but she does live alone. However, there has been somebody checking in once a day with her. You were each given a room and some clothes that are relatively your size, and the past few days have been fairly routine. She hasn't answered any questions you might have asked very much. She doesn't seem to know a whole lot, other than when things are ready, you'll know. And today starts like every other day, which is Lena calling up the stairwell of the 2-story house, and she just says, "Breakfast."
Of course.
Just flips off the motherfucking bed. And his first thought is, I'm a motherfucking werewolf. As you run down the fucking stairs.
I love Tomar.
What does Kylos do?
He just gets up, walks downstairs.
Just
Okay.
all just normal.
Yeah.
And when he gets down there, Tomar's already just, what's up, Carlos?
Yeah.
Birds.
Yeah, when you come down into the kitchen, you can see that she set out several stacks of pancakes, sausage, bacon, all that kind of good stuff. There's orange juice, a pot of coffee, milk, things like that. And Lena's standing near the table, like sliding another pancake out of the stack from the pan. And Helena is a very pale woman, made more so because her hair is done up in like a two-tone dye job of pastel colors. Half of it's lilac, half of it is like a dusty cotton candy pink. And she's got it in a low ponytail because she's cooking. And she kind of has like a goth aesthetic look to her. However, she's wearing like a lacy apron as she cooks that she doesn't remove clothing. And she has these pretty slate blue colored eyes, but she's wearing a lot of makeup so that pop really well. And she kind of just nods at you as you guys come down and just lets you have at breakfast. And as you guys eat, she just kind of like picks things up from what she's been cooking, and then returns to the table. She takes her apron off. You guys are eating. And now she's coming over to the table, and says, "I'm told that I'm to take the two of you in today. I'll be meeting with my grandfather who can explain things to you."
How old is this woman?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to ask.
Huh?
How old is this lady?
She's roughly like 18, 19. She's really
Tomar's
young.
winking. Ah.
I was picturing like a middle-aged woman. She's
No,
like
no.
grandpa. I'm like, huh?
No.
How
she's
old's your
very
granddaddy?
young, probably right out of high school age.
See, we were. I think most of us were picturing like a middle-aged woman, and you're just like, my grandpa. I'm like, what?
No, not necessarily. That's what I was actually about to ask before she said that too. He's like, I like your cotton candy hair.
Thanks.
Yeah. And he already winked at her, so we're just gonna leave it there. He's like,
She kind of just like giggles at the wink, like she's totally like cool with it. So we'll be leaving right after we eat. So if you guys have any questions, I can try to answer, but I can't really promise too much.
Alright. I'm sorry, repeat.
So we'll be leaving right after breakfast. So if you have any questions, I can try to answer, but I can't promise a whole lot.
He's just like, I'm good. He just keeps on eating.
Can't be much worse than I had been.
We'll see, I suppose. So is there anything you guys want to do before you leave?
Is it like we're inside of like a tent or a house?
It's a house.
There's a shower, right? We're gonna
Yeah.
shower.
It's a normal house.
Yeah. So is Tomar. He doesn't get a lot of those.
Okay.
Come
So there's like the upstairs has like a full bath, and the downstairs like main floor has like the half bath with like just the toilet and the shower stall. So you guys can take your showers. Okay. So once you guys are all ready, she meets you guys at the door with her coat and keys, and then you guys go up to the car. And it's not a long drive by any means. Clam Lake is a very small unincorporated town, roughly about 5-minute drive. And she pulls into the parking lot for the Checkamega Nicolay National Forest. And parks up at a part of, like one of the lesser used trails. Normally people would have to go and check in, but she only gets out of the car and pops open the trunk. When she emerges and kind of shuts it with her elbow, she's like holding 2 duffel bags that she just throws at you guys.
Should I roll to take head?
You just catch it. Unless you want to fumble, I suppose.
No.
And as she does this, she's like, you'll be staying up there a while, so Debbie got you guys some gear. There's a small tent, some extra changes of clothes, some more boots, just your regular stuff. You'll need it. And then she leads you guys along the trail for several miles, and finally pauses after with like a quick glance, and then she whistles. And you watch her look around, kind of like all over, because even she doesn't know quite where somebody's going to step out from. But then somebody does, almost right in front of you guys.
Jesus. Dang, man.
And this guy is big and broad-shouldered. He has ruddy red hair and like a thick beard that's almost more blonde than it is red. He has the same colored eyes as Helena. And he's dressed in a flannel with like a thick coat, worn jeans, and solid hiking boots. And he just like looks at you too. And then looks to Helena. And like, did they give you any trouble? No, they've been fine. Just curious, I think. Debbie got them some gear, so they should be all good to go. And then she turns and she's like, this is Carlos and this is Tomar.
Hey.
He kind of just does like the chin nod.
I mean, I am black, so that's fair.
And he goes, my name is Carries the Names.
What's his name?
Carries the Names. He starts leading you guys through the woods itself. You're forced to push through snowdrifts, slush puddles, and thick undergrowth where like the branches have fallen from the weight of the snow. Up hills and things like that. Again, the sort of trek that most humans wouldn't force themselves to go through. And the three of you come to a certain point where he stops and makes a sound like a quiet howl in the back of his throat. And it's eerily close to a real wolf's howl. There's a returning noise.
Oh my dude, that's so cool.
Kind of like a grunting bark, and then Carries the Name steps forward with you guys. Instantly, as you step forward, you feel an energy tingle through your whole body, and the air grows significantly warmer. There's still a little bit of snow here, but as you guys walk further, it lessens until there's none at all. You start hearing sounds of life, more than just the regular bird call, and then you break into a small clearing where you can see people passing through. Some people are sitting at picnic tables, such as these guys. There's a person working in the gardens, but most people are running around and setting things up. And you can imagine this probably looked like the picnic area of a park, but right now it's beginning to look more like a party area. So they have like all of the benches and tables going up in one area with the fire pit. They're building like rings, large rings in the ground and stuff like that.
What do you want to do first, Carlos?
I ask him, what is this place?
He goes, this is the Sept of the Five Winds. This is where you guys will be living from now on.
What are the 5 winds?
5 winds represent our patron. You'll learn more about that as time goes on.
Alright, cool. So he just goes to find a place to sit, basically, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, so there's still like a couple. They are leaving a few benches and stuff like that underneath the pavilion for people to sit, but most of them are being
Occupied. He's like, come on, Carlos.
I go sit down.
Carlos, come on.
And Thistle, where you are, you do see Carries the Name walking with 2 new people as well. And then they go off and sit.
You said that who walked in?
Oh, sorry, Thistle that Carries the Names and you guys walked in.
Okay. He goes and sits down.
Yep.
Does he sit down where there's places like kind of next to him?
Yeah, so he's kind of like overseeing the work being done. He's
Oh,
just
so
kind
I
of.
shouldn't go up and sit next to him.
Well, he's sitting near you guys.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna just nudge close to that. Is that right?
He got
How young do these two look?
teenage.
Yeah.
Your age.
I just continue.
Carries the names after scanning the area. Looks over at Morning Glory and like gestures her over, and she just like instantly she's on her feet, moving over to this guy. And there's this subtle posture in the way that she moves and kind of like defers almost instinctively to him. And she goes, "What do you need?" And he's like, he points over at these two. It's like, those are the cubs, right? She's like, yeah. She actually gestures to the two of you as well now to follow her.
So, Owari just grabs the plate and this fork and starts walking towards him.
Okay. He carries the names, looks kind of amused at the fact that you're like shoveling food still in your mouth while you're walking over. This was like the first genuine sense of something that isn't kind of like an apathy. And Morning Glory puts her hand on Arya's shoulder, kind of shoves her forward a little bit, and says, "This is my daughter, Arya.
Yeah, Arya.
Hello.
And this is Owari. He was also found at the same night as Arya was. I believe my husband was the one to find you two. Carlos and Tomar?
Is he a cop?
Yes.
Yeah, that was
Yes,
her.
that's my dad.
I woke up in that dude's cop car.
Could be worse.
It was. Prior to that. This is Carlos. He doesn't talk much, but he's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Arya's just sort of like staring at them almost like, yep. She's got the look of like, someone save me.
No one saves you.
Why not? Help.
We are here. Back.
No, not yet. Too soon.
So in your awkward, quiet, trying to make conversation but failing, Morning Glory sits down, and a little bit to you, but mostly towards the others. She says, "So tonight is the full moon, and on a full moon we have a gathering for the entire sect. This is called a moot. There will be a lot of things going on. However, to the best of my knowledge, the Master of the Right will be performing a ritual that will tell us what tribes you three belong to."
Dope.
She actually laughs for once. Like the awkward nervousness breaks and she just like lets out a giggle at that. Just.
He's just sitting there, I will fuck a werewolf.
Owari stops eating for a second. It's like, this ain't no satanic shit, is it?
And he starts laughing at that.
This is Garou, not humanity and Christianity or what have you. There's nothing satanic about
How much would I know about that particular aspect of things? Gaia.
I mean, you've probably been raised to believe in Gaia
Okay.
versus any more traditional human religion.
Then she sort of snorts at his goofy question, knowing better.
I'm sorry, I was raised on the streets.
I understand, and as time goes on, you'll learn better.
Get learned.
Just kind of awkwardly starts eating while kind of glaring.
She is unfazed by it entirely.
I'm gonna try and sneakily get a picture of each of these two. On my phone.
Okay.
And by sneakily, I mean like as sneakily as she possibly can, which is shitty, so.
I got some pretty good perception. I'm very aware of my surroundings.
It'd be a subterfuge of performance, probably.
Which I'm great in
Subterfuge is like lying.
Performance or stealth, then?
I would go with stealth and dex versus how many dots you guys have in perception.
I have 4.
Well,
Okay.
perception and alertness?
Just perception. 'Cause they're not really alert that something is happening, but you can you're still perceptive. So you have to beat a 4.
For him.
Yeah.
What else be for you?
My perception? 4.
2 successes.
Okay.
Just
So yeah, you snap your pictures super quick. They're very candid.
Did he forget the flash on?
No, she succeeded. But you botched? Maybe. And Thistle, this is all happening at the same time as your meeting, so once you complete your task, you can join if you would like.
Do we see her?
Yeah, you guys can see that there's... Are you in Krynos or are you human? What form are you in?
I am human currently.
Okay. So you do see a
So
human female in the garden working. Teenage years.
Important question. Does this human know to wear clothes? It's one of those newfangled... Do you know to wear clothes? Some medics aren't used to clothes.
I think I've learned to wear clothes. Yes.
Okay, good.
So
Makes
I'm
things
just
less
wearing
awkward.
like normal, casual sets clothes, whatever that
I'm
comes
sure
to.
someone would have said something to her too. Like, hey, there's gonna be a lot of people around here, man. Jesus.
Yeah, so stuff clothes tend to be, just like jeans and flannels and t-shirts and basically whatever would
Hipsters.
be on clearance and stuff like that. Like super easy things that you can buy in bulk.
So hipster clothes.
Sure.
You look like a hipster.
Wait, what?
So since I'm done doing my shit in the garden, I'm going to just kind of walk into the eating area, kind of see what's going on. I walk past this table. I'm a little annoyed about what they're doing and how they're acting. I just kind of stare one of them down with my bright green eyes, and I just kind of walk away and go off and do my own thing.
She's talking about the one that was with them earlier.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah, I don't know what form he or she is in right now, so that was the only description I had, and I don't know names at this point,
Yeah.
or don't care to remember names.
So the one that was with Mountain Peak, her name is Briarclaw. And you would have known her to be a Fenrir. And they're just kind of moving around in the tent area, doing stuff. So eventually, a woman, teenage woman, strolls past you guys.
I got a picture of her too.
Okay, what's your perception, Jamie?
Oh god, here we go.
Yeah, how many dots do you have in perception?
I succeeded.
And actually, well, yeah, perception.
Oh, I have 4 dots
I still succeeded.
in my perception.
Okay.
got it.
So you don't see it, but Arya does manage to get a picture of you as you are moving around in the dining area.
Like anyone who seems like teenage years, I'm trying to get a picture of.
So is there anything you guys want to do?
Go home. You didn't say that we're allowed to do. Call home?
Your phone does not work.
Gotta get that fixed. First order of business. Get phone dedicated.
I'm guessing I don't even have my handgun on me.
Thank God. You
You,
know what? Whips out a handgun.
you guys,
This is a hold up.
you Yeah, you guys would have lost a lot of your stuff after your first change, so.
Oh yeah, what do we still have after our first change?
You
Not our
picked up
clothes.
your phone, so any like trinkets or change or anything like that you had in your pockets, probably not there. I mean, you would have been able to pick up your purse, so on.
Also, Ariel, I did send you a description.
Oh, yeah, so if you guys want to describe your characters to each other.
No.
Garret
first.
My guy's about 5'11". He's mulatto. And he has a brownish black hair with blue eyes, and he's this is fantastic. I put his nationality is Chicago.
Alright, so Arya is, I mean, she's just the same as most everyone else here, like about 16, 17. She's got, you know, a lighter brown hair with brown eyes as well, which she normally keeps away from all of you for the time being, so it's hard to tell the eye color, but it's some kind of brown. She's also much like Morning Glory of Oriental persuasion, but most likely Chinese. She's about 5'5", very small woman, and according to the dots of appearance, reasonably attractive.
My guy is 17. He's 6'4".
Very tall.
He has a black buzz cut that's about like a half-inch long. He has like dark eyes. Like they almost seem black, but they're like a dark brown. And he's basically Spanish, so he has that skin tone of that.
Well, like what kind? Like Mexican Spanish, or they're very different skin tones.
And like coppery.
Central American.
Yeah.
There you
Central
go.
American.
Latino.
What'd you think when you heard Carlos Mencia?
And he's,
Garcia, right?
Garcia.
Mencia's the comedian.
Yeah.
and he's pretty.
That would be so much better.
He's pretty
I
well
told you
built.
that. Pretty well built? Oh yeah. She's a very lithe individual, Arya is. She's very, like, I wouldn't say like super skinny, but she's not. She's definitely not like a track star or any kind of sports star.
Owari.
Especially with her one joint.
Owari is 17, has black hair, blue eyes, and is a Japanese American.
It's a very
Average.
interesting looking Japanese American dude. You got blue eyes and shit. That's
Yeah.
crazy. Hey, that's cool.
Average height.
Which, like what, 5'8", 5'9"?
Yeah, around. Obviously male.
Thistle.
So I am a late teenage, like 18, 19, Caucasian, classic Wisconsin gal. Lean, but kind of chubby around the hips.
Jamie?
Just very kind of like, always has a skull on her face. Very intimidating. Kind of like that don't want to fuck with you face.
Does she have a curly brown hair?
Yeah.
She does not. She
Is her
has
name Jamie?
gray, silver, stick straight hair, and lime like bright green eyes that seem to flicker.
Anyways,
So,
sorry.
is there anything you want to do? Any questions you have? Otherwise, we'll just skip
How
that.
did you two meet? This seems like an interesting story.
I was hitchhiking,
Okay.
and the bitch that picked me up was the C word.
Okay.
He was in the passenger seat with her, or the back seat, right?
Passenger.
Sure, passenger seat. So she gives us a ride to a hotel, and it ends up she's trying to kill us or something. She gave me a sandwich, and I ate that shit down. And then next thing I know, I wake up in the chair next to this guy with a bloody face. And I'm like, we gotta get out of these chairs. And I was strapped down, so I tipped myself over. And the rest is history. We beat those bitches up.
Why do you have a bloody face?
No man.
So obviously you're the warrior type then. Like the
Oh hell no!
fighting.
Oh hell no! It's a good thing he was there. I would have got my ass beat. I'm just glad I fell asleep before the fight started in the first place. To be completely honest with you, because I don't know what I can do. That being said, though, we did break off some chair legs and basically kill one of the bitches. I knocked her in the kneecap or in the shin, hit her over the head. She done, son.
You talking about like the metal chair legs or a wooden one?
A wooden one.
Okay,
and
that makes
it was
more sense.
at a corner point, and I hit her with the point of it, and she reeled over so hard. Let me tell you something right now.
Okay.
He does that in character.
I thought that would be interesting.
Anyways,
You can see Carrie's the names is leaning forward and listening intently.
Who is?
Carrie's the names.
The
Carrie.
grandfather?
so yeah, when I hit her, she went down. The other chick, she had some kind of black shit that went over her skin, and she got a tail, and she whipped him into a wall or some shit. It was scary. And I was beating her in the face with a chair leg, but it didn't do nothing, and she stabbed me twice in my. Still hurts. I won't need to.
She pulled a knife on you?
It was a dagger with some kind of shit on it, and it had some like glyphs or some shit on it. I don't know. It was scary as fuck.
It sounds bad.
Yeah, and then my arms grew hair, and I killed her with a whack from my mighty claw. You know why? Because I'm a motherfucking werewolf.
I've heard you say that once or twice.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's
Homeless to werewolf.
Almost white wolf.
Thanks to bitches.
Homeless to Harry.
Yeah.
Our story is not nearly as interesting. I know him already. Owari.
How'd you guys meet?
One of his friends shot my dad.
The one that was in the back of the cop car?
Yeah,
At least he didn't die. What happened?
that's all I really remember. His friend shot my dad. Next thing I know, I was on the ground. He was in the ground. We both had no clothes. It was very awkward.
Ooh. Seems like there might be something there, huh?
No.
I hope not.
Fair enough. Yeah, when I woke up, I was covered in blood, so that'd be a little awkward, I suppose.
Anyways,
He's doing this. Tomar's gonna make this so awkward a little bit.
so she just tries to look at any of the adults. Like so.
Tomar's the shit out of this.
Your mom looks at you.
Tomar's just kind of peeking around.
Yes, mother.
You're the one who spoke.
So.
Fair weather we have. Actually, Tomar steps in. He's like, "So how about that weather, guys?" He just steps into when they're trying to awkwardly avoid
She
him.
just sort of like lowers her head just to look.
And then he walks away, feeling very accomplished.
Okay.
Breathing along just fine.
Carries the names. Leans forward. Like he's sitting on one of the picnic tables, like facing you guys, but still being able to like kind of look over what's happening. And he's sitting like backwards on it so that like the table is behind him. And he kind of leans forward and like with his elbows on his knees, his hands folded. He's like, "So where did this all happen?"
I was going up to a place to get some like medical testing on me, and she just picked me up and brought me to this like it was like an orphanage or like it had some kind of thing helping children on it. They were they were trying to sell us some kind of burger. I can't remember what was the name of the place. He would know. Yeah, exactly. Oh, right, that place. That place. So
The hell a commercial.
yeah.
Apparently my commercial didn't really work as well as it should have.
No, that was a fantastic commercial.
He remembers the burgers. He don't remember O'Toole's.
just the and the hand reached away for a napkin and came back with another burger. 2 for $4. Anyways, yeah. So he was. Where was he when that happened? Because I forget exactly. He was
You guys are you asking about the room or the building?
the building that he remembers walking into.
Hearts and Homes for Youth, I think.
That was yeah. It was in Hearts and Homes in Hayward, I think it was. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. She seemed to like pick me up out of nowhere. I just was like, "What's up, lady?" And then he just kind of asks, "Why?"
What else looks up finally, I know.
Occasionally these things called Banes can possess people. And we call them Fomori. This sounds sort of like what you two encountered, and if there is something, if there are some that are that close to us, that's an issue.
Come on, you
Well,
know.
we killed them too.
But who knows how many there are otherwise.
Well, you know what? They pissed me off. So if you guys got a battle with them, I mean, do it.
There's a sudden gleam in the man's eye, and he says, "It's good to hear."
I'm glad I know that I got people that will help me fight these fuckers, because that pissed me the fuck. She put a syringe in this man's arm. You know how inhumane that is? Bitch. Not you. The lady I was talking about prior to this.
I'm talking to a man right now.
Well, right, but you can still call him a man, bitch.
True.
I was just saying, anyways.
So what were you doing?
Guess I might as well tell you then. After this fool fell asleep or whatever happened,
Hey.
Miss Stell came in, and she came up behind me and tried to stab me with a needle, which she succeeded.
And what did you do?
I retaliated and punched her in the face. And then,
Doesn't seem like it went very well.
no, but when we woke up, they were there. We knocked one down, and all of a sudden, a tail hit me in the face. I was out.
You don't seem very combat ready.
And he says you're a warrior?
You did a lot of shit. Hey, Carl.
Also, you said tomorrow's the full moon?
Tonight is the full moon. Yes.
So what's gonna happen to us tonight?
Fair question. What is happening tonight?
Morning glory pops.
So was I.
What?
So was I.
She says tonight is the moot. It's the full moon. We have one every full moon just to discuss matters in the sept. And as I said earlier, tonight you will find out what tribe you are a part of.
Am I gonna change again? Because I've seen some movies where people turn into werewolves and shit on the full moon.
Only if you want to. Or if you get angry enough, I suppose.
I ain't about that life, but I do want to.
Gotta turn into a werewolf right now.
If you want to try.
How do I do it?
You just see Tomar on the ground, just. Am I changing?
You're going to summon that anger that's inside of you. And you are going to think about the changes. You're going to imagine the pain that comes with all of your bones breaking and becoming new shapes. Your muscles tearing apart and moving into new places. Your organs moving even.
He's just a little taken aback, but he's like, alright. He sits there and thinks about his childhood and his parents' time and shit. This is things that he's thinking about. Doesn't like that bitch stabbing him and shit like that. And he's thinking about his last change and he's just trying as hard as he can. He's like, I'm gonna
Okay,
do this.
so you can either roll or you can spend a point of rage to do it automatically.
What do I roll? He is trying. He likes this shit. He's like, no!
So it is a stamina plus primal urge. And then the DC is what's written on the bottom.
Nothing.
So 3.
3.
Oh,
So that would be a 6.
you
It'd be
said primal
7.
urge?
Oh, 6, yeah, holy shit.
Well then.
You got it.
I.
This anger takes you over, and all of a sudden you find yourself with all these imaginings. It becomes real.
She's quickly just backpedaling
Yeah,
out of
and
this.
you burst into Kratos.
Can I talk in Kratos?
You can talk in the Garou tongue,
Okay.
Kratos, except you haven't learned that yet.
I
So it's basically a lot of just like guttural sounds.
Arya's just like backpedaling away from
Carlos, look at this shit. Carlos, look at this shit. He's like,
But he's just gesticulating angrily at you.
You see carries the names, like lean back in his seat and just suddenly bust into laughter.
Arya's just like, alright then. Maybe later for me.
and he just sort of like,
Morning Glory kind of just gives you a look and he's like, it's okay.
and then I guess he'd be cool with that. He'd just, how do I revert? I just choose to or what?
I believe you make the roll again. Do whatever form you want.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, are you going into Hamid? Because I believe you can go to breed form automatically.
So I'm gonna go back down to Hamid. I don't want to be. I just wanted to see if I could do it. Like that's what he's just like. Yes, yes. So yeah, he's trying to get it back down. But
Character shifting to their breed form, the change is automatic and instantaneous. No matter how many forms must be passed through. Okay.
Good
As
job.
you
That makes sense.
shift back down to Hamid, you realize there's a breeze.
It's just like I feel super cool. Like, chill.
Do you have any extra clothes that you could wear?
And I'm just like, he literally doesn't even. He turns around and just walks away. On the way by, he picks up a bowl from the table and puts it on his butt cheeks, and it puts it.
Arya is bright red. She's just crimson.
He is smiling so hard right now. He thinks this is the funniest fucking thing.
Arya, like, chin up is just bright crimson. Just,
Yeah, and carries the names is just like so much laughter. It's like this
Damn,
deep
well.
sound that kind of carries.
He's like, I'll see you later, Carlos.
You do have the duffel bag that you were given that has some extra clothes.
Okay, so yeah, he picks that up and like runs behind a tree. And just like a patch of things where people can't see him very well.
Alright, so
How many naked guys are you gonna see in a couple of weeks, my dude?
does that happen often?
What thing?
That?
People changing?
Just randomly like that?
I mean, sort of.
And I was trying, so it wasn't too random.
She just sort of.
You'll get used to it. There are certain ways that you can keep
Meant
your
to say
clothing
something,
and your
sure.
items, but
I also meant to do something while he was running off naked, but
oh, sorry. What?
take a picture of him. And
Well,
just
unless anybody else wants. You want to do?
oh,
it?
she doesn't even try to be stealthy. She's just like,
I'd be like sneakily standing right the area when I see her phone pop out and be like, "What are you doing?"
She bumps it.
she like almost drops her phone, then just like grabs it and shoves it in her her shirt. Just nothing.
Do you even know what a
While
phone
she,
is?
she was trying to reach for her phone, but I tried to like fight for it.
Would you even know what a phone is?
Well, she's trying to fight
Yeah,
me for
but it's
whatever I
like
have.
new, and I know it's not supposed to be there because I've never seen it in sets before.
She's not wrong. It's a foreign object. So I mean, can she try and grab for it? That's what she's asking.
Yeah, you can certainly try.
What would it be?
Well, it'll be contested for sure.
What about
This is interesting. I've enjoyed
Get my
the
fucking phone taken.
interactions going on right now. This is-
And then you go into a raid.
Oh yeah. Take my phone. See what happens.
Yeah, right, a teenage girl, take your phone, see what the fuck happens. It's kind of funny.
Get out of here, Sam.
Strength and athletics.
Oh
The
god.
two of you. Whoever gets more successes, we'll say DC 6.
She has so many dice she just rolled.
I had 3 successes.
He rolled one die.
And got a crit for it.
He got a 10, but it doesn't matter compared to your 3 successes.
So yeah, you lunge for the phone, and you really don't know what it is, but like you said, you've never really seen these before. They don't really use them here because
Can't.
there's no reception, and there's really no place to charge things, and you rip the phone out of Arya's hands. Now you have a phone and a really angry-looking teenage girl.
No, not an angry-looking teenage girl.
A transforming werewolf.
Owari sees that it gets taken and backs the fuck off.
You don't take my phone.
So roll for your transformation.
Yep. So what form are you going into?
Actually, he goes next to carries the names.
Okay.
Going right into Krynos form with a point of rage.
Okay.
And just try to slug her in the jaw.
Alright, so Thistle, you suddenly see this girl that you stole her phone from rip up into Krynos. And she is going to try and hit you in the face.
Got one
So,
stamina.
punch is Dex and Brawl.
So, real quick while they're doing this, Tomar comes back and he asks, carries the names if he smokes cigarettes.
Or you got any ashtrays with cigarette
He's
butts?
like, do you know anybody that does?
You are so close to getting out of the way, except this Krynos fist slugs you right across the jaw.
And you roll strength for damage, correct?
Strength.
Nope, strength just alone down here in the brawling chart. There's a chart.
But you had 2 successes. Well,
Damage.
But her one.
yeah. So yeah.
Punch is Dex plus brawl.
Difficulty 6.
Oh, that's for hit.
Damage is strength
Go with strength.
slash speed.
Which as a Krynos is +4, so a total of 5. What's the DC? 6 for damage?
6.
3 successes.
So make me a straight stamina roll. So however many dots you have in stamina, roll that many dice. Tell me if it is above, if it's 6 or above.
You don't soak much, Chrissy.
No, I'm arranged for a reason.
2 out of the 3.
Okay. So you're going to, in your health boxes, put a slash through bruised, and that represents bashing damage.
No, Christopher.
Okay.
So this is what happens.
You go slash.
Oh god, there's gonna be a response to this from the higher ups, I bet.
What do you do, Thistle?
Oh, there's not. Great.
Just hang on.
I try to keep myself upright,
Okay.
and then I run towards, I'm trying to think. Trying to run towards, like, the main Great Hall. And look for Owari.
Fuck this shit, I'm out.
While hanging onto the phone as best as I can.
Okay.
Fuck this shit, I'm out.
So you
I
see,
know there's a lot of shit going on there.
yeah. So you see Thistle dart past you for your mother.
I'm gonna try and tackle her.
Because I know Morning Glory, right? Yes, I
Yeah,
do.
you know more than Glory.
And there is a body tackle.
Yep. Okay.
There is, by the way, a modifier.
Difficulty 7.
Okay, hang on.
Combat so early.
Yeah.
Inter-party combat even. Best
So
kind of
early,
combat.
yeah.
Okay.
It's time to get it out of the way. Right in the
I mean,
beginning.
y'all waited till level 13 to start fighting like Kris and Silvos and shit. Nah, level 1, let's go.
Both combatants must succeed in a Dex plus athletics roll, DC 6. For the attacker, 6 plus attacker successes for the target. So roll me, Travis, Dex, and Brawl.
Okay.
DC. Oh, this is 7. Weird.
Yeah, this is 7.
Yeah. But this said. Yeah. Sorry.
2.
2. Okay.
So a Dex and Brawl DC 8 for her, or DC 9 for her?
Yeah, so Jamie, make me a Dex plus Athletics roll, DC 8.
Fuck.
She's rolling so many dice.
Ooh, 2 successes.
Whew. Roll me Dex and Athletics as well. It's DC 6.
You're getting chased by a werewolf as a normal human right now. This is probably pretty intense looking.
3 successes, 2 10s, and an 8.
Okay, so neither one of you hit the ground. You are currently locked in this strange, tense moment where Arya has her arms around Thistle. Thistle is like holding her ground with his phone like clutched to her chest. The damage is strength for the attack.
2.
Okay, so make me a stamina roll again, Jamie.
Because there was 3 on 1 is the 2.
What's the DC in that one again?
6.
2 successes.
No damage.
Okay, so you don't take any damage from this. Just your natural like resistance kind of like bears through the slamming of this Krynos into you. And as this is happening, it carries the names, goes, knock it the fuck off!
I mean,
I like moving her off my back.
I'm currently like full angry Krynos form.
Okay, so you don't react really at all?
I bite her.
Can I try and punch this motherfucker in the face, like in the nose?
Yeah, okay, so if we're gonna continue, we're gonna do an initiative.
You're not giving me back my phone.
So what you're going to do is roll 1d10 and then add the number of dots you have in Dex and Wits.
Can we say Tomar's back and watching this?
Sure.
He is eating again.
1d10 and Dex and Wits.
Yep, so you'll add however many dots you have in Dex and Wits together with the number you roll on the die.
13. I would have that too.
Only with my final effects.
You got 7?
I got
What'd you
13.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Hey, do you see Owari inside?
I don't know. He's watching. These two, so probably not.
He says, Tomar, catch! Throws you some fucking Japanese spices.
And he hears it. He's got good perception, so I'm gonna say he does just. And he's like, "Thanks, man." Throws it back. We're making a show of it. Catch! Get yourself some of this before it ends.
So yeah, I'm gonna try and bite her. Oh god. Hey!
Morning, Lord.
My mom. Howdy, Mom.
Okay.
You're in the combat too.
Arya? Wait,
I'm-
okay, so.
Oh, yep.
Initiative works a little differently in D&D, and I'm gonna try and remember this. So, what happens is the lowest in the initiative says what they're going to do up to the highest. Because that allows the highest person to react the way that they would or need to versus what the slower people are doing.
Okay.
Fair. Well, that
Makes
makes
sense.
sense. Yeah.
So, you said you're going to try and punch Arya.
Yeah, I'm just gonna try and like punch him, be like, punch him away from me, be like I kind of have more of a relaxed stance,
Okay.
like trying to listen.
Alright, Morning Glory is actually going to bust into Krynos and come up behind Arya and like headlock and drag her back. And then Arya, what did you do?
I'm biting Thistle.
Alright, so
Guess she won't give back her phone. Dex plus brawl DC 5.
aggravated.
Yep, it's aggravated damage.
So Dex and Brawl DC 5.
You can't soak aggravated damage.
She can't she?
Not in human form.
Can't.
Not her.
Menace,
She's
maybe.
menace.
Maybe. DC
You gave
5?
that to Allie, right?
One success.
All that stuff.
Yeah.
Ooh.
4 successes?
Damage is strength plus 1.
Yep, I rolled 6 dice. Don't
Okay.
worry. It was 4
Oh, I thought
successes.
that was for your...
No, that was for damage. 4 successes on damage.
Okay, so Jamie, roll me your stamina again.
That's when we're like, because I hurt today.
Anything of 6 or above.
2 successes.
Okay, so you're going to move down your slashes, as many as you need to put down, how many did you?
2.
Put down 2
Start.
asterisks in the top boxes. Morning Glory is next, so like I said, she's going to spend a rage and pop into Krinos. She's going to try and drag you back. So she's only holding you, she isn't intending to inflict damage. But she had 4 successes. So what happens is
She like, sit.
this fairly average in height Asian woman suddenly ripples up into Krinos with a lot less effort than any of you would need to do. And as Carrie's the name has just ended shouting, she's reaching around Arya's neck with her arm and like catching her right into the meat of the throat and yanking her back and away from Thistle.
Who's punching.
Yes. And you are punching Thistle, so make me a Dex plus Brawl roll. DC 6.
2 successes.
Okay. So the number of dice you have in strength, roll that.
+1.
Plus.
She got 2 successes.
Oh yeah, plus 1. Sorry.
2.
You got 2 that are above. That are 6 and above.
Yeah.
Okay.
It didn't soak.
Oh.
It wasn't
Okay.
a botch. I got a success in there.
All right.
Just a failure.
So, what happens is your mother is dragging you back, and so her punch lands square in the breastbone, kind of like jerks you back against Morning Glory.
Although she's not familiar as much, but she smells familiar.
Yes.
She's not going to fight anymore.
Okay.
She is going to try and grab for the phone, though, as she futilely grabbing at the phone as she's being pulled away.
Okay, so what are you doing, Thistle? Because you can see that Morning Glory has now shifted, and she's dragging Arya back away from you, even after your punch.
I was gonna run over towards Carrie's the name.
Okay.
I'm trying to grab my phone.
Yeah, it's not.
No, a phone!
And I was just gonna be like, I was gonna hand him the phone like, contraband!
Okay.
This bitch.
So, all of this is happening.
Sucks to be you, nerd.
Why did you take my phone?
So, Carrie's the name is in the middle of answering Tomar's question, and he says, brush fire smokes. And then you see Thistle, who is bleeding a little bit from the shoulder and things like that, come running up, who shoves a phone into Carrie's the name's hands, and he takes it.
And says contraband.
Yeah.
Contraband.
Fucking tattletale.
And
This goddamn rat.
he says, he gives Thistle this look. He doesn't say anything, he just holds the phone for now. And
I will
helping
eventually
him.
calm down.
Okay.
Back to Hamid.
Okay.
And then grab my backpack
Yes, because you are
and cover
now
myself
naked.
with it.
Before you can run off, however, Morning
No,
Glory,
I'm not trying to run off. I'm just covering
Okay.
myself with it. It's like,
Morning Glory does shift back down, and some of her clothes did get ripped, but some of them are still intact. She actually has just a pair of like basketball type shorts and then a tank top that has stayed with her.
I would like to say, for the record, Arya has gotten in like 2 fights in school because girls take her phone. So there's a past to this. Like, she doesn't like people taking her phone. So Mom would maybe know that much.
Yeah. However, your mother does not look
Forgive me.
happy at all.
Yeah, regardless, he's like, okay.
In fact, she grabs you by the back of the head and marches you towards Carries the Name and shoves your head down in front of him.
I'm off to find the dude with the cigarettes. He's like, I'm scared. I'm just about to get out of here.
Oh, the guy who smokes. That's the name she gave you.
Yes, correct.
And your mother says, scroll down his stuff.
You know what? I go with you.
I'm in trouble, y'all.
Yeah, you in lots of trouble.
I go with you.
Cool.
She goes, this is Carries the Name, an elder, and you disobey.
I just thought like he did stuff like that before.
She took my phone.
It doesn't matter. He told you to stop, and you did not. Now apologize.
She just through gritted teeth. She's, I'm sorry. Like,
then
still grinding her teeth together.
Okay. So the Morning Glory at that point lets you straighten up if you want, and Carries the Name. This is like to be young and full of temper again.
She, instead of standing up, she just starts like squirming into a t-shirt, a long t-shirt, like pajama long.
And though he does seem kind of forgiving about it, Morning Glory actually says, I apologize as well for letting you get out of hand.
She's just staring at the phone and Carries the Name's hand. Just, can I have that back, please?
Can you control yourself?
You hear that from the distance from somewhere.
That has a lot of private information on it. I don't like when people take it. But I will try not to react like that next time.
Thistle, what are you doing?
That's all.
I'm just kind of sitting there with a cocky ass smirk on my face, like she kind of won that battle because she didn't get yelled at yet.
Yes.
Okay.
And then she kind of like mumbles over to Arya and is like, you know, you can keep that shit to yourself sometimes. You don't need to be flaunting it around.
Carries the Names does hold it out to you. Because normally we don't allow these devices here. I suggest in the future you don't bring it or keep it in your tent. We don't have electricity.
She just takes it and
My
just
fucking side
puts it in her
out.
backpack for now. Once she has pants on, it'll be back in her pocket. Well, what carries as a pocket in her pants at least.
Do you want to go find the guy with the cigarettes?
Yeah,
You were just
damn
told
right.
the name Brushfire.
Brushfire, yeah.
And I just went with them.
So I just start going around and asking them, like, hey, do you know somebody named Brushfire? Like, I just go up to anybody, just tap on the shoulder. Hey, not to bother you. It's gonna be really quick. I just need a smoke, and someone told me that there's a cat named Brushfire. So
Okay, so there is a person in Glabro who is carrying a picnic table by himself.
okay.
And you manage to catch his attention.
Hey, yo, Brushfire! That's right.
got
And
that
this
killer
Glabro
voice.
looks at you, sets the table down, and shifts into Hamid.
Like it's just no big deal. NBD.
What's up, man?
And he's just in a long sleeve shirt and some jeans.
Someone gotta teach us that trick.
Yeah.
And he's got like blonde hair that's kind of like styled, a little bit of stubble going on. He has a long scar like right behind his ear that kind of goes down into his collar. He looks maybe roughly mid-20s or so, and he says Brushfire's on duty right now.
Dang. Well, you smoke?
No.
Do you know anyone besides Brushfire that does smoke?
My dad.
Who the fuck are you?
I'm Tomar Jenkins. He reaches a hand out to shake.
So he takes your hand
And I give him a good firm one. I give him a good firm one. I'm like, I'm new here. I've only been a werewolf for a little while. I heard Garou, my bad. Garou. And I just turned into the half man, half whoop one. I don't know what it was, but I turned into that. Man, I need a square. It was, and I just watched this cat fight between two wolves, so that was interesting.
He goes, I'm Michael Stormborn.
What?
And who's that?
Michael Stormborn. I don't know.
Oh,
Stormborn.
These are characters she created.
fair enough. And I'm like, who are you? Oh, besides that, I'm like, what do you do around here?
He actually kind of like straightens up a little bit, and he's like, I'm a Fianna Galliard, Clea.
Oh, a
Oh,
Clea. You found a youngin.
it's a Cleve.
Like
And he says it in this
Your.
formal kind of way that you can kind of guess that this is probably how strange Garou might introduce themselves. And he just says right now, I'm just setting up for the moon tonight. Brushfire should be back this evening. He's one of the guardians, one of the guardian packs, so he's running the right now.
Now, I'm not going to leave you with a message because I don't think he'd give a shit if someone random asked him for a cigarette. But when he comes back, you said a couple of hours, approximately how many?
This evening.
And you said he's going to be coming back to like this spot or this general location?
He'll be here for the mood.
And will you as well?
Yes.
Cool, because I'm going to come back to this spot and I'm going to look for you. And when I do, I'm like, hey, can you point me to Brushfire? And then I can just talk to myself and you don't have to get yourself involved. It's not that big of a deal, right?
Sure.
Awesome, splendid. He says splendid.
He looks like super amused by the whole spiel.
I have a feeling he knows what this guy is.
Yeah, here it is.
Like, yes, another one.
And he just,
People.
and then he heads back. He's like, oh, it's a little bit too late, but I'll take it. It's fine.
Yeah.
And then he literally just like, hey, come on, Carlos, let's get out of here. Let's go. Carlos is almost, Carlos never talks.
Is there anything else you would like to do?
I don't know. What do you want to do?
I don't know where you want to.
I think we're good for now. If you want to move
Yeah, I'm good.
to
I'm
tonight,
just waiting on dude for that cigarette.
I'm gonna move into the corner and actually now. So like I said, what I first put on was just like a long like night shirt.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm gonna put on like underwear, pants, clothes.
So evening comes. People begin to filter in, filling out some of the benches and picnic tables in groups. Someone heads up to the fire pit in the front and starts setting the bonfire alight. And when it catches, it begins to roar with crackling heat. The full moon has begun to rise. You. As the moon begins to rise, you feel all of that anger and that rage bubble up. This is your moon. Carries the names, heads off, and he actually takes a seat. So all the benches and tables are kind of set up in like a half ring around this bonfire. Carries the names, takes one of the seats on the front bench, like dead center, almost. And a younger looking woman, probably mid-30s or so, with long red hair, and she's got two long braids in the front where her bangs would be that are left down. And she actually takes the literal dead center front row seat. Morning Glory ushers Arya to a spot where a young woman with brown hair and 2 different colored eyes is sitting. And she sits with her. And you, the rest of you, Thistle, this is a moot. You generally sit wherever you want to that you don't think you're going to get in trouble.
I sit in the back.
And also Morning Glory gestures the 3 of you to a particular spot off to like the side of the ring in the front.
Myra goes, he throws one of them up and he just kind of, it goes over to where he told that guy he'd meet him.
Yep. Okay. And you do see Michael waiting for you. And he actually has somebody with him. It's an older man with like a wrinkled kind of face, pretty weathered,
No.
kind of like a golden, like a burnished, coppery gold hair, like kind of tucked back.
And I'm like, you must be, was it bush?
Brushfire.
Brushfire, that was it.
Bushfire.
Bushfire, yeah. Brushfire, yeah. I'm like, are you Brushfire? I have heard that you smoke cigarettes.
I do.
Is there any way I can make a negotiation with you? I have nothing. Let me start off with that. But I could potentially get a cigarette from you. He rolls up his sleeves.
Brushfire he folds his arms and he gives you this look, kind of disgustingly. And he goes, I heard somebody has to take care of the latrines tomorrow.
Not knowing what the latrines are, he says, we might have a deal. What are the latrines?
Where we shit.
Oh. Well, how many cigarettes do you have, my friend?
I'll give you half a pack.
Latrines. Everybody's shit. Are there gloves or anything for this situation? I need to know what I'm getting into before I sign up for it.
They have all the stuff you would need.
Alright. A pack and give me or half a pack and give me a cigarette, and now we got a deal. Plus
Alright.
that, yeah.
So he just reaches into like the pocket that he has on his shirt and hands.
He's taking this deal.
11 would be half a pack.
11, however many half is.
He's just
20
taking this deal
plus
because he knows
the
that there's
one.
not another way you can get a cigarette around here.
Yeah, 11
for
is
a
total.
while. So yeah, okay, he's like, alright, so let me know where and when I need to be there. You said in the morning, yeah?
Yeah.
And
Tomorrow
where is
morning. Just be here. I'll let them know that that's your chore for the day.
dope? So he immediately he's like, by the way, got a light?
Again, he reaches in his bag.
Alright, so yeah,
And then he
goes.
holds his hand back for it.
And then he goes back over to Carlos. Over by Carlos and sits down with the rest of the group. He's like, Carlos, what's that?
It's over.
Yeah, so the 3 of you, like I said, are on like the side of the ring in the front. Not the greatest seat, but really not the worst either. And then the noise of the conversation dies down until there's only the sound of the wind and the bonfire. The shaky wolf prowls forward into the circle of firelight, and just the way that the flames are, it makes him look like he's himself on fire. And then he tilts his head back and howls. So imagine that, but louder.
Oh.
So you hear that. The opening howl is a haunting echo that creeps through the trees with its unearthly melody. You don't really understand it, only that it raises the hairs on the nape of your neck as one by one individual voices join, creating a harmonious sound that billows across the night sky as the full moon sits above you. This ethereal quality is almost heartbreakingly sublime as all these howls become unified.
Tomar would also like to try and howl, not just in his hominid form.
That's fine, yeah.
He's going with it. He's going for it.
Can I try and record the sound on my phone?
Kris.
You can try.
Okay. I'm just gonna get like a 6-second soundbite.
Okay, how are you doing it?
Just recording it on my phone.
Like, are you trying to hide it? What are you doing? Okay. Your mom actually reaches over and just puts her hand on the phone.
But it sounds so cool.
As this dies down, an older man with dark hair comes to the fore, standing in front of the bonfire as it illuminates him from behind. Casting him into shadows as the wolf that had howled heads back into the crowd. He begins to sing, an homage to Gaia, the mother of the Garou, and to Steg, the venerated totem of the Fianna, to Fenrir, the totem of the Get of Fenris, to Uktena of the Uktena, to Unicorn of the Children of Gaia, to Owl of the Silent Striders, and to Windigo of the Windigo. Then it transitions into a respectful song to the Sep's patron, the Winds. There are people clapping, some more uproarious than others. There are several people in the crowd that are brushing tears away as they kind of like lean into their comrades.
None of it means much shots.
It doesn't mean a whole lot to most of you.
We're just like, what?
Yeah. So, however, it is very beautiful and it does bring emotion to the fore.
No.
Because this is done by a master yeller. But then things fall quiet again as a dusty reddish-white wolf trots up to the spot along with several other people. As she comes up, everyone drops their head for several long moments, meditating.
Arya's just like this. Just...
Yeah, and Tomar's just.
Okay, so the flutes begin, followed by the drums, and followed by an array of other instruments. Other people come up with the lupus, and they form a circle around the lupus, and then they begin to dance. A twisting, undulating pattern that picks up speed as time goes on until a flurry of dust is being kicked up and spun about their feet. And the wolf begins to howl, a ululating, throaty sound that echoes the music and seems to twine around the dancers. And even she begins to dance in the center of the circle, stepping around on 4 paws in a practiced pattern. Wind picks up, twisting around the group at the front and making the roaring bonfire gutter and nearly go out, before it suddenly bursts into an explosion of heat and light. A shower of sparks races up into the air, spreading out and being carried away on winds. Then the wind eases and the dancers end on one note, the lupus stopping their howl and the musicians cutting off their music. And then they all step away. And another person steps up to the front. This is a older looking gentleman with dark hair that has shocks of white and these penetrating blue eyes that almost seem like phosphorescent in the dim light. And he gestures to the 3 of you sitting off to the side to come forward.
Yeah, okay, so you just kind of put the cigarette with his fingers, and then he just gets up and walks over there. Put the cigarette in his back pocket. See you later.
The 3 of them, you said?
Yes.
That's already gone. I took a cigarette.
I missed that entirely.
I'll let it with you.
So Tomar stepped up.
We're supposed to step up?
The 3 of you.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
The tribeless ones.
I guess I'd step up too.
Okay. So he gestures for you all to seat yourselves in front of the fire. And as he does so, he begins to strip off the nice button down that he's wearing. And he indicates that you all do as well.
Take off his shirts.
And if you've been looking out into the crowd, you can see that a lot of the people are in various states of dress. Many of the men are not wearing shirts. Women are wearing kind of revealing clothing. Like, it's not meant to be revealing, but it's showing off different scars and things that they have.
And the rest. Well, this is on his face, so he's good, right? He's like, shut up, Tomar.
Did that scar?
No.
Okay, didn't think so. Garou healing man.
And when I take off my shirt,
Usually silver damage
they
causes scar.
see scars all across my back.
And that.
What?
Whatever caused that.
Scars across all of Owari's back. Like he's been whipped multiple times.
Cool. There's some like pebble marks on the underside of my feet. If anybody feels like that makes me badass, I've been through some pain too.
Okay.
He makes sure to lift up his anyways, continue.
So, this man, you can see that he has a small tattoo on his pectoral above his heart. And then he also has some scars that kind of rake over his hip and down past the waistband of his trousers.
Let's see where they go.
And once you're all seated, you have your shirts off, he brings forward a small bowl. And the inside of the bowl has that same sheen that like oysters do, so it's kind of like that pearly opalescent color. And he sprouts a cloth from his fingertip, nicks his finger or his thumb, and then squeezes some blood into the bowl. And then he reaches back, takes a pinch of ashes from the edge of the fire, and mixes it into the blood, forming a paste.
Is he about to assemble us?
Find out. And as he does so, he speaks. And it's no Galliard voice, but it carries in a very formal, very respectful kind of way. And he says, I've dreamed of you as of late, White Heart. I've seen you roam the banks of the streams and rove the wild woods. And he dips a finger into the paste. He touches each of you on the forehead, both eyes, and then the chin. I'm just smearing a little bit. And he says, I have given chase, and you have led me to these three. I beseech you to tell me to whom they belong. And then he settles back on his heels and tosses something into the fire, and it crackles loudly in a shoot of sparks again that all of it turns bright emerald green with like a core of white. And then the drumming begins, the chanting and the bagpipes.
Bagpipes, ow.
This is Tomar, okay? It's not me. Don't worry about it.
It's not me. Says the guy doing it.
Then you all feel something in the air change, like reaching the top of a tall mountain. The air is thin, but it's rich with the scent of the fire. The smoke is acrid in your nose and heavy in your lungs. The scent of the burning wood is sweet, with an almost unnoticeable aroma of apples. The firelight doesn't grow brighter, but it grows more vivid and sharp, as though the world has suddenly come into focus. Like moths to light, your attention is drawn to the form that steps into being. This form is incandescent and ethereal, and its luminescence lights up the whole area. It's the shape of a white heart, grand antlers sprawling above its head in a wide rack. Its body is lithe, with thin, delicate limbs and sharp hooves that seem to float over the dirt and not touch it. The spirit crosses through the flames and stops in front of you. Its snout dips and huffs a few breaths in to get your scent. Then it presses its muzzle to your chest, right above your heart. And as you watch, a symbol begins to carve itself across your skin, glowing as though drawing light from your surroundings. It continues to glow even when the heart steps to the next in line, Tomar. Again, the spirit inhales your scent, and it feels like subtle drafts of a warm spring breeze before it ducks its head to touch your chest in the same spot as Owari. Light springs into being on your skin, a rune searing into existence, except without any pain.
Oh.
And for the third time, the heart repeats these actions, brushing a ghostly but somehow firm touch against your brow, Carlos, as it breathes in, then presses your chest with its muzzle. The glow begins, tracing a rune into being right above your heart with a pensive slowness. Gracefully, White Heart steps away and glances over to the man that had begun this whole ritual and says, in an ethereal voice, I look forward to your payment, Eye of the Storm. Eye of the Storm has dipped his own head in deference to the spirit, still drumming and chanting. Then the heart is gone and everything appears as normal again. The storm stops, and the Sea of Fianna behind you in particular are also very respectful in their postures. And as you look down at these symbols, you can see that they're no longer glowing, but they have turned into dark ink that's tattooed on your skin, much the same as the symbol that's on Eye of the Storm's chest. And then he rises, points, and says, Shadow Lord, Bonar, Uktana. And then there are mixed reactions in the crowd. The only real loud reaction is after he says Uktana, and the group does a howl that is sharply clipped, and then it stops. Then a stern-faced, Titan-tressed woman steps up, and she is the one that had been sitting dead center. She has a sharp, vulpine face, high cheekbones, and startling green eyes that seem to be illuminated. Silence reigns over the entire moot, and she glances down at the three of you. The whole of the moot seems to wait with bated breath, a roiling tension in the air. She passes a glance over the crowd, and then at you, and holds her hand out to Tomar. The Sept of the Five Winds invites the Cup of the Bonargs to fight with Gaia in our name.
She puts her hand on you, said?
As to, to help you up.
Oh, he just puts all his weight up into him. Thanks.
And then she gestures you back to your spot.
So he backs up into his spot. No, he doesn't. He turns around and walks normally. I'm sorry. So extra.
And then to Carlos. The Sept of the Five Winds invites the Cup of the Uktana to fight with Gaia in our name. She holds out her hand.
I grab it.
Okay. And then gestures you back to your spot.
What?
And then to Owari. Again, the Sept of the Five Winds invites the Cup of the Shadow Lords to fight with Gaia in our name. And holds her hand up to you. And then, again,
I was expecting some shit from this one.
gestures you back to your seat.
I was waiting for some shit.
Again, there is a very mixed reaction. The same group that had given that howl for the Uktana does it again. But there are some mutters when it comes to the Shadow Lord and the Bonar. But all it takes is this glance from this red-haired woman, and the entire crowd just shuts up in an instant. And then she retakes her previous seat in the middle of the front row of benches. Carries the names. Then a woman with dark hair comes up and stands in front of the fire. And this is the woman that you had been sitting with Morning Glory. And she's holding a large thigh bone in her hands. Several people begin to stand up in the crowd after she gives this gesture of, okay, it's time to start. And they all begin to air grievances about each other, about perceived insults, things like that. They tell their sides.
My phone.
And then she makes her decision about who is in the right and who is wrong. This is how it goes for several minutes. It's pretty boring for people who don't know these people and the inner politics of the Sept.
Arya, as people are airing their grievances, tries to stand, move forward and say something.
Morning Glory just is this is not the time.
But she took my phone.
Your cubs.
And she's like, shut the fuck up.
She's like, you're lucky you still have your phone.
She literally just growls at her mother. Just.
Morning Glory gives you the patented mom look.
And she just rolls her eyes.
And she's like, you are going to need to learn to listen to your elders, or you will not make it here.
She just turns away and just tries to on the slide, do that.
At that point, Morning Glory is whatever at this point. And then the woman in the front,
We've all done it.
Yeah. when nobody else steps up at her last call, she shifts into Glabro and then just snaps the leg bone right over her knee and flings the pieces into the fire.
That's random. Like it. Like even I don't know what half this shit is.
Ritual.
Yeah.
And as she walks off, the man that had first sung, or after the opening howl, the older man, makes his way up to the front again among cheers and whoops of excitement, and like you can feel the shift in the crowd, like the energy just begins to ramp up. And he
I
just
heard it myself.
holds his hands up and gestures. The crowd's volume goes down, and he speaks. Tonight we begin with the Crimson Peak Pack and their story.
Oh, I'm trying to make it into the silver record, huh?
Thistle and you would recognize Michael as he steps up. And he takes a spot next to the man and begins. And he regales everyone with an intense story of how they'd been in town a few hours from here, tracking down a leech that had taken refuge in the area. Just describing how they smoked him out with a well-done trap,
Hold down.
attacked him in an empty bowling alley, and tore him to shreds. He embellishes the story quite a bit, full of graphic details and a song-like cadence until he reaches the end with great gusto. And there's a lot of like cheering and excitement, and especially from a particular group, which Thistle would know to be the rest of his pack, except for the one, the dark-haired man, who is the one walking forward now. He has a beard and mustache, and he recites the story in actual truth, fixing details and any extra embellishments that had been a little bit too far out of the realm of truth for the elders that are in the front. The energy in the crowd is grand, reaching a point that it almost has this like electric flavor in the air until it calls on that rage that's inside of you. And it only serves to grow more heady and strong as more stories are told and contests between the galleons continue on. So there are stories of old stories, and the different tribes say them in different ways, obviously, just trying to outdo one another. And there are contests where they play instruments and things like that.
This comes without a flute. Yes, that was delivering, so okay.
And it's at this point, like, most of the crowd kind of begins to relax a little bit. Other than that, still, like, kind of frenetic energy. They're more exuberant in talking to each other and just in general having a good time. And when the tales finally end, people break into various groups and begin a party. There are several of the Fianna having a drinking contest. There are various spots where people are playing instruments and people are dancing. There are fierce contests between performers. The spots where the rings have been set up are occupied by people sparring, and then there are several smaller bonfires where people have set up shop with food and drink and are just talking. Just in general, it's a big party.
I'm gonna go try and get some drinks.
Same.
Okay. There are plenty of coolers kind of just out and about.
He starts chugging.
Here's the thing. Arya knows nothing about alcohol. Not with Daddy around.
Okay.
And
That guy knows a bit.
there's a tight curfew, so hard for her to really sneak at parties and whatnot.
Alright, so sorry, go ahead.
So she just grabs whatever looks the coolest, whatever label looks the best, and grabs a quick selfie of herself taking a swig out of it, and then puts the phone away for now.
Okay.
Just so she can like show some of her friends if she ever sees them again, be like, haha, bitches, I drink.
Before you do run off to do that, Morning Glory does stop you.
Oh.
And she says, just behave. Don't make a fool of yourself or me.
Mostly me.
No promises.
By association, yourself.
And she says, she kind of gestures to where her tent is so that if you want to sleep there after partying or set up your tent in that area, you can, and then she's gone.
And then we'll get drunk. Like, not good drunk.
It's a Fianna prevalent sept. Have at it.
It's not going to be good drunk either.
So he's heard that there's people telling stories and shit. He's going to that car once he starts getting tips. He's bringing like 4 drinks over with him. He's like, "You think that's good? You pussies listen up." He's going for it.
Yeah.
And me and Carlos, and he's like, holding Carlos for like, "Me and Carlos here? Fuck your story."
That's an impressive story, to be fair. For Cubs, that's a pretty impressive story. Almost unbelievable.
And what does Owari do?
A little bit.
Just kind of awkwardly looks around.
Okay.
I embellish this shit.
I imagine Owari just moving around, just like, so, where's the gambling? Am I right?
Like father, like son?
He's looking for the gambling tables.
There are no gambling tables.
He's setting up a gambling table right away. He just, like, pulls out a deck of cards.
He pulls out like $25. Alright, let's get this started.
Like, where do you even have that money? Don't ask me. Don't ask questions. Don't worry
There are
about
also
it.
like boasting contests.
That's fine.
Where they're just making the wildest claims and just generally trying to outdo each other. Things like that.
I'm gonna go up to him and be like, "I have a pet dragon in Santa Cruz, fuck yourself." And then he walks away all stumbling and shit.
Like the people that are there are just like laughing. They're dying at this.
And he's like just randomly saying pussies as he's walking away and shit. Just being as obnoxious as possible.
What kind of trees are all around? That's an important question.
Fair.
Well, let me check the official website.
I mean, simpler question. How many of the trees around would you say are easily climbable for a drunk person?
Well, there are probably some smaller
For a
ones.
drunk person with a really bad dexterity.
There are some that you think you can climb.
Alright. Drunk chick gonna try and climb tree.
Okay. Yeah.
Can I roll perception to see if I see this happening?
Sure.
She ain't being stealthy. She drunk.
So should I see it?
If you want to see it, you see it.
Okay, cool.
Have you been drinking too?
Roll
I
the
have
dex.
been drinking.
Dex and athletics.
DC?
8.
1 success.
1. Okay. I mean, you manage it. It's not graceful in the slightest, but you manage.
I mean, I'm drunk as fuck. It ain't gonna be graceful no matter what.
Yeah, like it takes you a couple tries, and finally you get it, and you're like hanging over one of the branches by your stomach, kind of like trying to like get yourself to rights, and yeah.
How high up is he in the branches? Yeah.
She's on the first branch, like it's pretty like low.
Like 7 feet tall, like 6, somewhere around there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Something that she could have easily reached, like,
So yeah.
without having to climb.
About 6.5.
Yeah.
Okay.
At most.
Yeah, he comes up and he's like, "You look stupid." So how did that go down with the other chick? I saw she stole your phone.
She just pulls her phone out like, I still got it. And like stumbles trying to put it away. Just, nope.
So did
Well,
you
you're
catch
like hanging over the tree branch while doing this.
Oh, so she's just like,
Got it. Good. And I'm gonna be like, or actually, so real quick, did you care to tell me that you took the picture? Because you said you were going to. I'm not sure.
Yes.
Okay. He's like, so I heard you took a picture of my butt. What'd you think?
bright red. But also, got a cute butt.
That's what the fuck I thought. He like just put.
Although, it's only the second butt I've seen. And the first was Owari's. I saw his penis.
Like, yeah, that'll happen. What are you doing in the tree?
I'm in a tree.
Alright, good luck with that. And he lights up a cigarette. If you want a cigarette, come find me.
So she realizes she's on the branch of a tree and she's like, ow. tries to climb a little bit higher.
That's 4 cigarettes gone out of the. Well, no, it was 11 plus the 1.
Mhm.
So out of 12, so we have 8. I have 8 cigarettes left.
Cigarette economy.
Yeah, you gotta keep track of that. You've got 1 source at this current moment.
I tried to climb a little higher. Lower DC or it's the same?
Same.
No successes, 2 6s.
Okay. You don't fall out of the tree, but you don't climb any higher.
She's gonna keep trying a little bit here and there.
Thistle, what are you doing?
I botched.
You fall out of the tree. It hurts.
It breaks your phone.
It breaks your phone, Kris.
You
I
get
am just standing.
And she
I'm
just
just standing on the edge of the group, watching this young, immature group of people, and just shaking my head at myself, thinking, how did they get into this group, and why are they still here? And I have this huge skull on my face. And I don't interact with anybody right now.
Okay.
I would have heard him fall in that tree. Or
just
probably.
thunk.
I would turn around and be like, oh, fuck. Be like, Carlos, let's get this bitch to her mom. Let's go. So I just pick her up by the hands. I'm like, get her legs. It's gonna look so fucked up when we're carrying her through this camp. Hey, don't worry, we're just getting her back to her mom. It's fine. Anybody seen?
No, I feel like someone picking her up wakes her back up. She's just like, what was I doing?
You were in a tree and you fell. So we're getting you back to your mom because you can't handle yourself.
Hey, I'm on the ground.
Not anymore as we lift her up.
No, put me down. Put me down.
Just try.
Thank you. Doesn't even care that you dropped her. Thank you.
In that case, I'm gonna go find her mom and be like, hey, you might want to check your daughter. Why do I sound completely Mexican?
Yeah.
That's what it's supposed to be for Carlos. That's how I talk to Carlos specifically. Hey, Carlos. Anyways. Hey, look, lady, your daughter. God, I'm still doing it. Fuck, whatever. Who cares? Your daughter over there, she's fucked up. You know, I'm gonna go pick her up and take her to her room because she's laying on the ground and she was in a tree and fell out. So.
Morning Glory gives a sigh. Sorry. He goes, thank you. I'll go take care of her.
She's totally not where you pointed.
Okay, so she,
No, she's just gotten up and stumbled off somewhere else. Just, what's going on over here?
She just starts running, doesn't even know where she's going.
Big bright fire.
No, she's not that stupid. She's not stupid.
You sure?
She's drunk and ditzy. She's not a fucking butterfly or a moth. No, it's probably wherever the cuter guys are. It's like the Fianna.
Alright, sounds like I got it.
Back to the drinking table, essentially. So, yeah, she's just hanging out with the Fianna.
what?
Because they're cute. With the red hair.
Okay.
Fianna or Irish, man.
Alright, so the group that looks the most lively I'll start drinking with.
Okay.
Also the Fianna.
Yeah, it's,
That sort of thing.
yeah.
Lively bastards,
Generally the Fianna. So there are several places that you could be hanging out. There are a couple that are sparring. There are some that are drunkenly singing. So we're
Alright,
just
then I'll do the sparring. Get some close combat practice.
okay.
That's probably where she'd be too, is watching the sparring and drinking more.
Okay.
As ill-advised as that may be.
Stumbles between the match. Hey, stop that.
Now, if she sees you getting ready to spar, she'd be like, "Hey, I know you. I saw your penis."
The Fianna in the area just laughter.
Yeah, I believe it. I saw your
And she looks over to the closest Fianna who's laughing, and she's just like,
He busted gut.
Wait, like, was he going like this?
she was,
And that
Drunken teenage
particular
girls.
Fianna just claps you on the shoulder, and he's just like drunk women.
I had to.
Okay, so
Jacob is like, and moving on now.
yeah,
Not even denying. She's like, yep, moving on.
there is
We're already going
a
out of here.
woman with a younger woman with bright red hair in one of the pits with a even younger looking teenage girl with dark brown hair, and they're kind of sparring. Let's wait for them. Or there is a the man that had actually gone up to tell the tale in more truthful fashion, standing at one of the edges of the pits, kind of scanning the crowd to see who's gonna step up.
For the truthful tale or what?
Yeah, so he was the one that had come up after Michael to tell the tale in a more truthful fashion that wasn't quite so embellished.
Well, I feel like mine wouldn't be that good, so I'm gonna stick with the training here.
Yeah, well, that's what
Sparring
he's.
people.
Yeah, he's standing there waiting for somebody to step up and spar with him.
Oh, then I'll step
Go
up.
spar.
Okay.
Go fight, win.
Good luck.
I can't soak damage.
What?
I suck at soaking damage.
What did it say?
So he gives you a look, kind of just like appraising. No real motion one way or another.
No.
Sucks for you, nerd. It's like, sucks for you,
So there
nerd.
are an array of
Call
weapons,
me.
like staffs, things like that.
Staves.
Same, it's a synonym, doesn't matter.
I know, I had to say it though.
Where you have the option to shift.
So, is there no ranged weapons?
This is like a fighting pit. There's,
Oh, shift.
Shift? Okay. What?
Krynos.
Harness? Okay. So you roll or you pop a rage.
I'm pumping a rage.
Okay.
Like midnight.
So it is Kratos.
Sometime.
He does the same.
Why is it cold?
However, before this happens, he looks at you expectantly.
I just kind of shrug.
Name.
Oh, Owari. Well, before I would have to tell him before I shift, because I don't know.
So.
That's,
So at that point, he says, Alexander Grimjaw.
Alexander Grimjaw?
And he says, Get a Fenris, a rune, please.
I'm gonna punch him in the diaphragm.
In the diaphragm.
Give me a punch deck.
Which is Dex plus Brawl.
Yes.
So, do I still use the dice from this here?
Well, what are you? In Krynos?
Krynos.
You use the Krynos deck and then your brawl. If you have any points in
So
brawl.
I use 4 dice for Dex?
4 dice for dex and 1 for brawl, so you have 5 total.
So 5 total.
DC 6.
You just. Oh, yeah, never mind.
Oh. Goddamn.
1 success.
So you're going to punch. He is. He'll do the same, just kind of testing the waters.
Well, then that means you can reroll.
No. I'll keep that for now. Brawl, right?
Take this one instead.
Yeah.
It's better.
Yeah, I see that.
One success, okay. Okay, so 3 bashing. So roll me your stamina.
So 4 dice then, because I'm in Krynos?
Yeah, so it'll be your regular stamina plus whatever you get for your one.
7 stamina.
What is the number I'm trying to get?
6. So any 6 or above, 1 still subtract.
They're all success.
So how many was it?
4.
Okay, so you take no damage.
Sweet.
Please recall it.
So you can make. Okay, so what was your punch?
One
One
success.
Yeah.
And how much damage?
I didn't roll damage.
You roll the damage. Right for Krynos.
So it'll be plus 4, I think.
7. 2 damage.
You soaked 3, so you also take no damage. What
That
do you
is-
intend to do?
Again?
Okay, he's going to kick out for your hip. Okay, 1 success.
So soak is it?
So 5 damage.
Oh.
It was a rough kick.
3 soaks, so 2 damage. Not bad.
Yeah.
Is that a 10 or 1?
It says 10. Oh, that's the 10 side. That's a 1. That's only 1 soak. 4 damage.
Okay.
That went from good to very
And
brutal right away.
It's bashing, so just 4 slashes down the line. Yeah, so he roundhouse kicks you right in the hip. And you can feel like the bone kind of crunch.
8. 9.
Damn.
10.
Damn.
9.
6. But still,
Oh.
4 hits. 4 damage. So now, at the end of each round, you heal 1 point of damage. 1 bashing. And you just hear...
I'm a bite.
Well, you hear from the sidelines. You hear Arya, who forgot her own name in a drunken stupor there for a second, just be like, "Kick him in the penis, Mr. Big Guy. Kick him in the penis."
Tomar hears that and walks in that direction.
She's encouraging Grimjaw to kick Owari in the penis. By the way.
Okay. So you said you're gonna bite?
Yes.
Okay. He'll kick you again because it's going to be pretty effective the last time. So 2.
2. 4 for Dex, 2 for Brawl, -2 for your damage.
And it's a
So
4.
4.
Where are you biting?
Huh?
Where are you biting?
By his neck.
Okay.
3 successes on that bite.
Actually, if that was a 5, I would have. Right?
Yeah, it's a DC 5. And then strength plus 1. Your strength is 7, so 6 total dice for damage.
Plus the extra successes.
It was 3 successes, right?
Yeah.
So an extra
God
2.
damn. Still 8 fucking dice while heavily wounded. 2 damage, aggravated.
You got 5.
No damage, carry over.
And he just shrugs it off. Seeing that you are gearing up for that many blows, he's going to claw at you. Yeah, so he will claw you and then he's going to bite.
Gotta
So
beat
3 aggravated. So roll me your stamina.
Soaked 0. You are technically incapacitated, but you can make a stamina plus primal urge roll to keep going. Oh my god. He's down.
2 1s.
2 1s and an 8. Nearly a fucking full botch.
You go down after this big claw just gouges right across your body. And as you fall, Alexander kind of stops and just waits a few seconds just to be sure that you're not going to climb back up to your feet. And then relaxes back to cheers of the crowd.
And you melt back to Homan.
Yes.
And then Arya tries to stumble into the ring. It's like, I want to fight someone.
One of the Fianna guys just like loops an arm around your waist and tries to bring you back.
Oh, you want to fight? Go on. Just weakly slaps at his chest.
Ha! I don't know why that made me laugh so hard. Asshole!
Like, oh, you want to fight?
You're a little drunk.
Is Mom still looking for me?
Yeah.
And we all heard you say, kick him in the penis.
Yeah.
So
and
we know where you're
people don't really know how to modulate their volume either.
No, but seeing Morning Glory, I'm sure she's out in the crowd, so she's just like, Ma, I want to fight you.
Morning Glory moves over and just tries to like lift you over her shoulder.
That's not how you fight. She's like weakly flailing her arms and legs, like, this isn't legal fighting.
So Morning Glory is carrying you towards the tent.
You're enjoying it. Shut up.
Carlos, after hearing the cheers,
Oh God.
wants to go fight him.
Yeah, and I'm sitting like, Carlos.
You want to fight Alexander?
Yeah.
Like I told you, my buddy could kick somebody's ass. Let's go, Carlos.
By the way,
He's gonna go Carlos.
Chris? Okay.
And name, right?
Yes.
Carlos Garcia.
And he introduces himself again as Alexander Grimjaw. Good offenders on Clea.
Boom, boom. He's trying us.
Roll initiative.
Anyway, 18.
18. So he is just going to test the waters again with a regular punch.
I just go full out.
What kind of attack?
I'm gonna do claw.
Okay. Dex and brawl.
Boom, boom, and boom. One success. I had 3 fails.
Whew. Okay. Strength +1. Yeah. DC 6.
Short claw says +2 on here.
Oh, okay, go with that. Oh, I think I was looking at the wrong thing.
So 7, 9. Is DC 6 also? Not right. 3. 3.
Get him, Carlos. Kick their ass. I heard you got an 18 initiative.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Kick their ass.
10.
Nice. Here you go. Everything he's doing, you're reacting to.
And I think I'm going to punch. 2 successes. 2 bashing, so roll me yourself.
Yeah, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay. No damage at all.
Kick his ass, Carlos!
So seeing that you've gone with the claw, he is ready to go in with the bite this round.
I'm gonna punch him 3 times and then bite him.
7 successes. 4 damage for that one. 3 successes this time.
I have 3 fails. So I have 2 successes.
Those ones are killing you,
So
bro.
2 damage. 4. For my third
So
punch.
strength +3.
I didn't just keep these dice out.
You do. He's not gonna miss. Okay, no ones. I like the sight of 0 ones. 5 damage this time. That was not bad.
Three, so he takes 2 damage. That's just a punch, right?
What? Yeah, it does punch.
Third punch, yep.
and then lastly a bite.
You're right. 1, 2, 3. You should be right there.
I started off with 8.
7, 6,
6.
5. You're 5.
16.
God damn it. I can't count.
Actually, I got that one. That was being picky.
Not being picky. Whatever. Do you take damage this time finally?
Yes.
More than what I dealt.
Yeah.
Sorry, I mean, this is only difficult sleep.
1 success.
0. I have 1 here. Oh, yeah, never mind. I figured I didn't see that one at first. Yeah, okay, so 1 success.
So, 8.
8.
That's crazy how much damage. 50 motherfuckers.
I don't like those dice. Those are my first dice that hurt me a lot.
Picky bitch. They didn't hurt you, they hurt me. 2 aggravated. 2 potential aggravated.
Watch.
Okay.
No damage.
-3 damage.
So you keep wailing on him, and this Fenrir is just taking the brunt.
Oh, he's a Fenrir? Okay, that explains a
He's
lot.
just taking the brunt, and
This
like
is their thing.
his muzzle is like rimpled back into this wide, ferocious grin, like he's getting off on this. 1 success.
No, none.
You just took 5 damage. He rolled 2 6s, 2 1s, and 2 3s.
And it's aggravated. It's a big bite right onto your shoulder. And there are a couple teeth that you can feel click against each other in the bite.
Damn.
Through you.
Damn.
Ow! That made me hurt.
Yeah.
What do you think, Jamie?
I'm enjoying this right now.
I was just making sure you're still alive.
Oh, I'm just listening quietly.
He's going to claw you twice. 1 to the chest, the other he's going to lean around you and go for your hamstring.
He's doing 6 claws.
Yeah, 6 claw. Just
Okay, so
like.
you're taking out all of the dice automatically for injury? Okay.
3 hits, which is strength plus 2. 7 damage, aggravated.
Kill.
Yes! Soaks 6. He drops the dice.
Yeah.
As a fail. Floor dice count as a fail automatically.
4.
Still taking 3. Oh.
Yeah, 3.
Yeah, 3 aggravated still. 1.
Alright,
So that's strength. And that's it. Just strength.
Yeah.
7. Oh, he's the wrong one.
I don't know if there is. I'm like, I don't even see it. It's hard to see it sometimes.
Too high.
3, 4.
5. Oh, this was a 5.
No,
No, this was a 7. I fucking hit it when I moved it. Sorry. Yeah.
It's a 5 then.
5 aggravated from that one. -5 to the or -2 to the dice pool. Don't forget.
Hey, Carlos, you might actually want to right here. Let's see.
Two soak is all, or two damage.
2 soak.
So
He's
3.
down.
What? I told you fucking Carlos was the shit.
How does the crowd react to this? It's a bit of an upset.
Besides me, who's obviously just over there freaking out. That was...
Yeah.
I'm glad he's on our side.
The crowd is
I'm better
silent.
as well. I'm more
Most of
frustrated.
them are very surprised.
Except this one.
Yeah.
The few Fenrir sprinkled in the crowd look utterly disgusted. Let me note this down.
Grimjaw will remember this.
Let me note this down.
She is now a fucking telltale game. Grimjaw will remember this.
How bad are you looking?
I'm still,
He's mauled.
Okay, so you're not looking too great either.
He's not looking like he came
I'm
out,
still standing.
clean, but
Pointing out.
yeah.
A few people do leave, move on to different areas. The Fianna in the area are kind of, they're enjoying it, you know. Some of them think it's kind of funny. Okay.
Of course, go back to Hannah.
This is the second time transforming. You just whooped your ass.
You're welcome. I softened them both for you.
Sure. It was fully
For
healed.
sure, my dude.
Softened him up for you, he says. Grimjaw went from resounding victory to solid defeat. That's the difference between a racket bash and an Aru.
Does
I
anybody
am-
else want to do anything?
I'm unconscious.
Not be passed out drunk. I'm giving Mom the worst day of her life.
Okay.
And throwing up over her stuff.
Yep.
I'm just chilling and celebrating with homeboy. I give him 2 cigarettes, so I'm out of 6.
Thistle, is there anything you want to do?
No, I'm
And you
just
earned these.
having fun watching this.
Okay, so
This was like, I now wish to fight. So much fight.
the party goes on until dawn.
Alright.
At that point, there are only a couple stragglers, mostly Fianna, that are damn determined to not be the one that goes down.
To look up.
And that is where we'll leave it.
That sounds like
for
you and
tonight.
Zach.